He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the line. You have to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome as we continue on with the Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Clinic 2025 edition here. A lot of fun we've had so far. We get to continue that here this time, and we get to do so in quite a big way as we get more great conversation. And again, any more thoughts, let us know. Anything that you've missed or want to hear again, let us know, and we would love to connect with you as well. And speaking about connecting all the way, we're having a great conversation here as we continue to rock and roll. And as always, don't forget that your comments are very much welcome as well. And I have the one and only Coach Dupic joining me right here, right now from Concordia. And I say one and only. I mean, I don't know how many other people have talked to Coach Barta and talked to everybody else around here, but there's not enough high praise that they have of you here, Coach. And first off, I want to say thank you for taking the time to join us here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I appreciate it. People probably speak much too highly, I'm sure, but it is really cool to be here. You know, I grew up in Iowa. I can't tell you how many coaches I've seen today that I have not seen in years, you know, who are coaches that I either maybe competed against when I was a player or recruited their guys when I just started in coaching. You know, there's so many. I feel like if I start naming names, I'm going to forget somebody and feel bad. But it legitimately is really special just to see all these people and be a part of this.
Well, and one thing for sure is that you get here, and I really, really appreciate what the Coaches Association does, bring in such talented speakers like yourself and coaches who have been through the game. And what are your thoughts just coming here, not only speaking, but also seeing the rest of the landscape here? And because for high school coaches, this could be a dream come true. What is it like for you to be asked to do something like this?
Yeah, it's really special just because, you know, what people have done and what these coaches have done to impact people has been such a great thing. And you know, I'm part of that. I'm part of the fruit of that. You know, one of those players that came up from the efforts that they put forth. So if there's ever any way that you can give back, it's something that you want to do. And I think the other part of that is everybody wants to be part of a learning community. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of what makes this so special in Iowa is people want to learn and get better. They want to continue to connect with one another. And it's about such great relationships first and foremost, but it's also about growing the game and growing the student athletes. And so being a part of that is a really special thing.
Hey guys, Andrew Brown here with IA Baseball. I've got something very, very fun for you to talk about just shortly, and we've got a whole lot more conversation yet to get to. But for right now, I got a really cool thing for all the coaches out there, and it is called Hitting Approach. It's the cost-effective app that works with TrackMan data and beyond to help you as coaches and players get ready for the next game. Why? Because it has post-game analysis right when the game is done, charts, graphs, spreadsheets, analysis up the yin-yang right for you to use and digest right then and there. That's right, it's all there. The post-game analysis is fantastic. Plus, a thing that I love is that it helps the players as well. That's right, they can get the app on their phone, and questionnaires can be sent out after every game asking them about how they did, how they performed in certain situations, what their feelings are, so that you can get real-time feedback before the next game. It truly is simple like that, and by the way, very versatile. You can use it for batting practice, for pitching practice, for just general practice and beyond. The thing is, guys, it's made by coaches for coaches. That's right. They're using it at the JUCO level, D2 and beyond. And they designed it specifically to help you not spend hours putting data into a spreadsheet late at night. You can get all of that coming to you in a simple, easy, digestible format. and you can use it for the players as well. It's a holistic approach. So take a look at hittingapproach.com, get yourself a free trial, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Check them out today by hittingapproach.com. Get that free trial, and hey, tell them IA Baseball sent you.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, speaking about special thing, what you have going on at Concordia, Coach, I want to say it's really impressive what you've been able to do there. The fact that we've had a couple of guys on, including Coach Michael Barta, talking about that, and he mentioned that the very fact that you can building a program is tough. It's just tough. Even if you inherit the most successful program out there, you still have to build it. You still have to grow it. You've taken something that I'm not trying to knock Concordia beforehand, but just wasn't up to the level that it is now, and now it's at a very high level, continually functioning. If I could speak as such here, kind of take us through the path to get there for you. I guess first off, because man, getting into college coaching is tough as it is.
Yeah, I think the beginning path is I think about the people that gave me the opportunity to learn and coach initially, like Steve Eady at Buena Vista, and Brian Van Haften was the basketball coach that I played for there, and I learned so much from them and from the opportunities to coach those players. And the other thing is, we have had good success at Concordia. I'm really proud of it, but I'm also not naive enough to think that it's from me. It's such a group effort. I think about my bosses, my two athletic directors who've been so incredibly helpful through the process. I think about the assistant coaches, all the great assistant coaches we've had. And we've had a huge Iowa flavor from that. The Berg family and other guys who've been a part of this who are from Iowa, Casey Hall and Jake Adams, and guys from Mason City, Newman. We had Tanner Wahab from Sioux City. And we have a bunch of other guys who've been really impactful as well. From other states, obviously, as well. But just speaking, obviously, to the sort of the people we've had from Iowa, we've recruited kids from Iowa. So I just think, the opportunities that we've had in Concordia, the support that I've had within that, it's a process and trying to build into that just a little bit. But it's something really special. It is very difficult to do, but, when you're surrounded by the right people and like-minded people, it makes it fun. It's part of the journey.
Yeah, and a great journey it has been. And again, Coach Dupic here of Concordia, again, what a program that it is currently now, and really a high caliber program at that. And I also wanted what we just talked about there is what you've been talking about here at the clinic here. Starting from scratch, building up that culture here. And as you talk about the support here as well, what are some other things that you have kind of put your own flavor on when it comes to building that? Because there's so much that I don't think any one of us knows truly just what it takes to get in there and do that.
Yeah, I think, within the culture itself and my topic, obviously it's an intriguing topic because it's a little bit hard to talk about because it can be kind of vague. It's not a lot of, flashy videos or anything like that, but hopefully I was able to provide some good feedback. But I think ultimately it starts with your people. It starts with defining what you want to value. It's a little bit aspirational at first. You got to connect it to the people you have and understand who's how to build buy-in with those guys.
Yep.
It then filters down into the consistent behaviors that you see day after day. That's really common language in coaching, but it's sort of common sense, but common sense isn't common practice. And so I think it's really difficult to get people on the same page in that front. But being able to build trust and buy-in with your people and your players so that they can believe in that vision. There's so many different layers to that component, but ultimately I think culture is just an evolving process. It's really about people. It's about people, and I think we get into this profession, you see the coaches here, they're in this profession to help people grow, and that's really what culture is. That's what leadership is. That's what coaching is. Yeah. And so I think that's something that we really still enjoy all through these years later.
Yeah, and man, we as fans get to see that as well and enjoy that as well. I mean, it truly is something that I love to see the players come out of it better, like you said, improve and get better than when they came in. It's always a really cool time when you get to see that. But also when you go in through that, I mean, man, not only the support and everything, the vision that you have there as well, but getting some of the guys in, like you said, getting the buy-in from some of these players. And not just that, you continually get that. What's the secret sauce to continually getting that? I assume it's more of the same, but year in and year out, you see teams of all levels of college. One year they're good, one year they're not so good. But consistency, man, it seems to be a hidden thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it starts with recruiting. You got to recruit the right people and the right talent. But I do think that I would like to think that as a coach, I can do a better job understanding things. Now being in my I think my 18th year as a coach and my 11th year as a head coach than maybe that first year. And I think there's a lot of nuance and context to things, especially when you talk about people and understanding them. People are very complex, and they can challenge you in a lot of ways, but they also can be very simple in certain ways too. And so I think everybody's looking for similar things in some respects. And I think everybody has a little bit of a uniqueness to them. And I think learning to understand people in that capacity is a big part of culture.
Yeah.
And that I think speaks to the competitive success that coaches and programs can have is if you have the ability to sort of adapt a little bit to your people and understand what they need and how to continue to build them in that way, I think that can help to be a little bit more consistent over time.
Yeah, and man, it really, again, it pays off for the fans to get to see that good thing, that stuff on the field for sure. And again, everybody, is Coach Dupic of Concordia joining us here as we go through the 2025 Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Clinic here. And man, there's a lot out there, Coach. I wanted to get your take on here with the success you've had. Today, there's a lot of information that goes out there, and I know you have to battle that as a coach, both good and bad. But one thing here that I really want to try and push this year is kind of overcoming misconceptions. When you get a guy in there, obviously they're getting recruited to the college level because they're doing something better than the average bear. But what are some of the big things that you kind of have, or misconceptions or little mistakes that you have found that continually need to kind of be tweaked when guys get to your program?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, to speak into the recruitment, I think a misconception is that you have to be a polished product when you're 15 or 16 or 17 or at any point in your high school career. I mean, I haven't thought of a single player I've ever coached in 18 years that came in and said, that guy does everything perfect, we're just going to let him go play. It's a process to continue to improve. So I think that's a big misconception is this this feeling you have to have everything figured out by then. I think it's absolutely obvious that college coaches like myself are going to put a high premium on physical tools. We have to. It's part of the game.
Yep.
But I do believe that there's probably not enough emphasis on the character development, the ability to be resilient and persistent over time, the understanding of how to stack good days together over a long period of time. Those are the things that help you become a really good player and a better person over time. And so I think, sometimes it's probably a little bit too transactional in some senses, and I think it can be a little bit more relationship driven from time to time. So, those are some of the things that I really think about initially out of the gate is just kids could be a little bit more patient with themselves, and parents can be a little bit more patient, and coaches can be a little bit more patient when we understand how that process of growth really occurs over time.
Hey everybody, hopefully you're enjoying our Clinic Convos from the 2025 Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Association. Man, what a fun time it was. The clinic was amazing, and yet more to come from that. From right now, though, we got to tell you about the great folks at Victory Mounds. When it comes to field products and services, from pitching mounds, rubbers, bases, home plate, and the playability of your field, whether it's softball or baseball, they've got you covered to a T. Years of experience all wrapped into one, including Rush Niggett, Rob Donahoe, who's in charge of products and equipment, and of course Craig Allison, who's the national sales executive. They've got it all there for you, perfectly laid out so that you can get to what you want to in coaching and enjoying the game of baseball. They've got all the products covered for you, again, all the way down to the very rubber on the pitching mound itself. They make sure there are no questions from the start to the end, aside from the ones that you come in with that they answer right away. So I guarantee you, whether you are a fan or a coach yourself, you got to check out the great folks at Victory Mounds. They can do a lot for you. They are so great, and of course, they're ingrained in the community. What more than people who know your fields best and who can help you and your players, by the way, reach their maximum potential. So make sure to check out the great folks at Victory Mounds today. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Check them out today at victorymounds.com.
Yeah, man, and when it comes out as a good product in the end, I mean, it looks great. I mean, trusting the process is something I hear a lot. And with you, is it? I know everybody wants to get in there and make the flashy play all the time and do that here. How much of when you get these kids in, not kids, these adults that come in there, how much of it is trying to rein them back a little bit here? Because everyone does want to hit, everyone wants to hit the 700-foot homer. Everyone wants to get the 100-mile-an-hour strikeout. But, how much of it do you have to kind of help them from hurting themselves?
Plenty. It's a great question. I think we threw our first bullpen session with our team for this spring with kind of more of a live segment 6 days ago. And some of it went okay, and some of it probably didn't go that great. But I told everybody after, by the way, at the end of this year, nobody's going to remember this day. I think we're all kind of a prisoner of the moment. Yep. I think we all feel like this moment in time is going to define the rest of my life. And the reality is it really doesn't that much. If you can have a little bit more peace about things like that, a little bit more patience, see the big picture of stuff, I just think it's not only the most effective way, but it's the most joyful way. And so, I think there's definitely a bit. But listen, when I was that age, I was the same way. Everybody, every big game, every practice is like, the biggest moment in your life, and you just have to continue to learn and grow. And that's a character piece. That's part of growing as a human being.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly love to see when it all comes together, the right stuff, and again, all these. I guess one of the other parts of it too is. Everyone looks at those physical tools, and again, like you said, you have to. But I think what I like to call like the Mark Appel syndrome. Sometimes it's more of the mental side of the game in there. How much do you preach mental side of the game here? Because I hear it. I hear it more and more, and obviously high school guys, they're going to be one thing. They're going to want to have the physical performance, but how much do you preach mental side of the game?
Yeah, I think, everybody, it needs to be woven into what you do. Mm-hmm. I think, a long time ago, the mental side was like taboo, and you weren't supposed to talk about it because it was like, well, maybe you're soft or something like that. And then it became kind of its own siloed segment where, all right, go over here to this guy or to this group or to this classroom to learn about mentality. And now I think it probably operates best when it's woven into everything that you do, and trying to make it a part of your routines and your processes and your approach and your practice sessions and just what you're doing on a consistent basis. So I think the mental side is as or more important than the physical side. Yeah. There's no doubt it's a trainable skill. We see now that this is not some sort of special thing that a few people need to do. It's probably something that everybody can benefit from. And so it's a hard thing to coach, though, because it can be it can feel not very tangible. Yeah. And I think that's what's really tough and sometimes challenges us as coaches. But I think everybody can certainly benefit from that type of work.
And now, as we start to wrap up here, I did want to talk a little. You mentioned recruiting here, and I know that, man, the baseball world, the landscape for me seems to have changed. I mean, even the last year to 2 or 5. I mean, I think recruiting, man, it just seems like there's so much more now than there was back then. I know there's all these changes that have come about. How much has that, or how little, or how much has that impacted how you have to operate, and how much you have, or how had you had to change with all these changes that have been given down?
Yeah, I think there's some things that stand the test of time, and there's some things that change. We still want to recruit high school players. We still want to help guys grow and continue to get better in our program. Mm-hmm. But the reality is kids are transferring at a higher rate. You have to be more open to getting some transfer kids from time to time. I think another part of this is, I think if any coach says that they know exactly where they're at in this time period right now from a recruitment perspective, or where we're going to be in 3 to 5 years, I think we're probably kidding each other. You're kind of figuring out as you go. It's an evolving process, and I think it's something you have to continue to learn and grow on it. And so that's how we're kind of handling it, is let's continue to do what we believe in while also being adaptable to the new landscape that's occurring and staying open to some of the changes that we can do to benefit our program and our kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I think having to maneuver in today's world seems like you need a PhD sometimes in
It
how it
feels that way.
works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, certainly Concordia has done it well. You have done it well. And man, you go out there. But then on the other side of things, you turn around and whatever it is, conference, non-conference. I mean, it just seems like the schedule. I mean, there is obviously no light part of that schedule here, and obviously that's the same this year. But take a little bit about the conference, about your slate, because honestly, it seems like teams want to be a part of that now,
Yeah.
and I get a lot more chatter about wishing to be in that group alongside you.
Yeah, I think as our program has improved, it's become harder to find teams to play. So you kind of end up landing on the best because the best teams want to play some good teams. And
Yep.
we've scheduled Oklahoma City, we've scheduled Bellevue, we've got Dakota State, who's growing. We've got Southeastern for 4 games. So our non-conference schedule, we got Jamestown. Our non-conference schedules are going to be really tough. The conference has really improved. The GPAC has improved a lot since I became a member of the program 10 years ago. I think the players are continuing to improve because you're seeing this at all levels. I think the coaches are continuing to grow. I think you're seeing more administrative support within some of the programs that perhaps wasn't present, 8 to 10 years ago at the level that it is now. So everything's becoming more competitive, and that's part of the fun. That's part of the journey, and everybody wants to be challenged, and we're learning a lot about ourselves along that path.
Yeah, no doubt. And it just seems like you're handling, again, from the transfer portal, high school guys, it seems like now more than ever, there's guys who can come in at least have a good mind for the game, or, there's a lot of travel ball, this like that. Do you I know that we live in the world of baseball, want to eat and live, eat, and breathe it. Do you feel like sometimes when you see some of these travel ball, some of these outside stuff, is there a too much? Or I know everybody's not in it to hurt the kids, to hurt these athletes for sure, but is there a too much in your eyes? Because honestly, when it comes to Concordia, it seems like you've struck a good balance there of letting them be them, but then nose to the grindstone kind of thing.
Yeah, I do. I think there's too much sometimes, and especially in the youth baseball landscape. I think that'd be hard to argue that there's not in some case, in at least some cases. You don't want kids to forget how to be kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you want them to enjoy that experience as they're growing. I think there's plenty of time for kids to continue to grow and improve. But they need to have some fun. They need to fall in love with the game first. I mean, that's the whole point of this thing. I was just talking to Michael Bart about that about an hour ago. I was sitting next to him, and we were talking about how we used to live right next to each other right after we finished college, and had these big dreams as coaches, and here we are 20 years later. And but we said, man, we just loved the game so much, man. And I think that was the inevitable sort of first domino that has built to all this. And here we are, all these years later, continuing on this journey. But ultimately, it starts with the love of the game. That's really what we want to start with these kids and these players, and these coaches have that here. And I think that's a great place to start. If you love the game, if you love people, be patient over time. Kids will have plenty of time to figure these things out and as they go. And I think the youth culture can be really positive at times. I think sometimes it can be a little bit not so good too. And I hope that people will keep things in perspective. And I think the biggest fear that a lot of people fear is they have the insecurity when they have kids that are youth of falling behind.
Yep.
I think the reality is you don't really fall behind that much. If you push too hard, that's a way to fall behind because the kid doesn't want to play anymore. And so just being patient through all that stuff is, I think, a big challenge. I feel that myself, but it's something we just have to continue to remind ourselves.
Well, no doubt. And hey, if need any more reminders, just watch Concordia baseball. You guys do a fantastic job, make it look fun. And Coach, I want to say, again, not only thanks for coming on here, but thanks for what you're doing. Man, a lot of guys come in there and they come out so much better, just human beings as well. So not only what you do here, but thanks for what you do for the game of baseball.
I appreciate it. We have great people. I certainly hope I've played a positive role, but they deserve all the credit. And thank you to you, too. I mean, everybody plays a role within this. I just think the presence that you bring to baseball, to people, the opportunities for them to continue to see, and how much benefit this has for players and for parents and for families is really special. So thank you so much for your work and your efforts within this, and just how much notoriety you continue to bring to this great game and all these kids and programs. It's very special. So we appreciate you as well.
Well, appreciate that, Coach. Thank you very much. And, I guess maybe some relaxation now. I know you got to get back to it, but hopefully you get some sleep here.
We'll find a time sometime.
There
right?
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, hey, thanks everybody. And we have more from the Coaches Clinic coming on up right after this.